Some Gumball episodes were so weird, so dark, they got banned. Not age restricted, not censored, straight up vanished. Why? That's what we're about to uncover. And trust me, these weren't pulled by accident. The puppets. Let's start with the episode that made even grown adults uncomfortable with puppets ever again. Imagine this, you're home alone, it's quiet, you open a closet, and the puppets you threw away last night are staring back at you. Yeah, that's basically this episode. Darwin finds old puppets in the attic. Creepy? Sure, but then he promises to never take them off, which is weird, especially since he doesn't even have hands. He bathes with them, sleeps with them, talks to them. Slowly, he stops being Darwin, and the puppets, they start talking back on their own. Eventually, Gumball tries to tear the puppets off of him. Literally. It's like watching an exorcism but with felt and buttons. And just when you think it's over, the puppets crawl back out of the trash with new voices. Voices Darwin never gave them. This episode was so unsettling, so off, it got a ton of backlash. Parents were furious. Some said their kids had nightmares. Others said it felt like watching a kid slowly get possessed. Honestly, same. So was it banned? Not officially, but it was pulled from certain time slots. A quiet censorship, you know, the kind that makes it even scarier. But hey, at least they weren't dealing with grief, right? The downer. This one doesn't rely on monsters or jump scares, just pure emotional isolation. Ever wish everyone would just disappear? No parents, no school, no annoying siblings. Sounds peaceful, right? Well, Gumball wished for that, and it came true. Elmore is suddenly empty, a ghost town, no noise, no movement, no color, just Gumball and silence. At first, he loves it, running through the streets, screaming into the void, but then things start to shift. Shops are renamed to things like Misery Burger and Captain Crud. Buildings decay. The music turns eerie, and then a shadow version of himself starts whispering horrible things. This wasn't just another cartoon gag. This was loneliness, depression, dissociation. In a kid's show, some parents called it too bleak. Some channels moved it to late night. And can you blame them? It's basically what happens when Home Alone meets a mental breakdown. But as creepy as that was, at least it didn't break reality itself. The Signal. This one is pure chaos. It starts normal. A trip to the mall, Darwin tries on hats, Gumball makes jokes, but then, glitch. His voice starts skipping, his face distorts, objects disappear. At first you think the TV is broken, but no, it's the show, breaking itself. Scenes jump around, characters swap voices, Gumball stutters like corrupted data. Then comes the reveal. They're not real, they're just characters in a show, and they're starting to figure it out. This episode blurred the line between fiction and reality so well, some kids were genuinely terrified. Parents thought the episode was too meta and psychologically disturbing. Imagine being 7 and realizing your entire world is fake. Honestly, existential crisis speedrun, but we're not done, because sometimes the episodes didn't get pulled for horror, but for culture wars. Multiple episodes turns out the scariest thing to some broadcasters is progress. You'd be surprised how many Gumball episodes were banned overseas. Not because of blood, not because of violence, but because Gumball was too progressive. Take The Kiss, a moment of affection. Nope. Too much for some broadcasters. Cut, or The Dress, where Gumball wears women's clothing, a harmless gag, until networks in certain countries pulled it. Apparently a cartoon fish in a dress was a threat to society. Who knew? Or The Girlfriend, where same-sex attraction is hinted at. Yep, banned, heavily edited, because apparently love is okay, but only the right kind. It's almost funny until you realize these aren't just jokes, they're statements, and sometimes those statements get censored. The Parents. Not every Gumball episode was scary because of ghosts. Sometimes it was just the parents. Here's a question. What happens when the adults in the show act more childish than the kids? The Parents pushes that idea to the extreme. Richard is a lazy, irresponsible man-child. Nicole is overworked, angry, and emotionally exhausted. Their parenting style? Somewhere between passive neglect and full-blown chaos. At first, it's funny. Gumball's dad forgets to cook. His mom rage sprints through walls. Classic cartoon nonsense, but then it starts to feel a little too real. Kids watching the episode started asking questions like, why is the mom always yelling? Why does the dad never listen? Some critics even claim the episode glamorized toxic family dynamics. In countries like Turkey and the UAE, the episode was quietly pulled. No press release, no explanation, just gone. But here's the thing, it's not just a cartoon, because for some kids watching, this was home. And that's the scariest part. But speaking of adult problems, one episode tackled the thing every grown-up fears: regret, choices. And then came the episode that made even adults stop and question their entire life path. When we think of Nicole, we think of rage, screaming, flying kicks, but the choices changed everything. It opens with Nicole driving and crying. She's stuck in traffic, her life on autopilot, and suddenly she starts imagining the other paths she could have taken. The boy she didn't date, the job she didn't take, the freedom she gave up to raise her family. What follows is a multiverse of regret. Each version of Nicole plays out like a what if. What if she'd chased her dreams instead of her responsibilities? This episode hit adults hard, because how many of us haven't looked at our lives and wondered, did I mess it all up? It's beautiful, poetic, sad, too sad apparently. Cartoon Network aired it once, and then rarely touched it again. Why? Maybe because it made parents uncomfortable, or maybe because it made them feel seen. The joy in this episode messed people up. It starts weird. Red text on a black screen. Monday, 7:53 a.m. Already off, Gumball and Darwin are weirdly happy, like too happy. They hug people, spread joy, laugh non-stop, but it's not normal joy, it's viral, contagious. Soon the whole school is infected, smiles stretch too wide, laughter turns into screaming. It's like The Walking Dead, but with glitter and auto-tune. Miss Simeon, the only one not infected, hides. She plays Beethoven to stay sane, but it doesn't work. They find her, hug her, and in her final moments, she smiles, laughs, collapses. No explanation, no reset button, just pure madness disguised as happiness. This episode got pulled from reruns. Some called it a satire on forced positivity. Others just called it psychotic. Either way, it left scars. The copycats. Of course, Gumball couldn't resist poking fun at its own success. In the copycats, the Watterson family encounters a Chinese bootleg version of themselves. Yep, same family, same personalities, same house, but badly animated, awkwardly dubbed, and just off. It was clearly meant as satire, a playful jab at the cheap knockoffs that tried to mimic Gumball's style. But China wasn't laughing. The episode was heavily criticized for cultural insensitivity. It was blocked from airing on Chinese networks. The YouTube clip banned, scrubbed, re-uploaded, taken down again. Was it racist or just a biting meta joke? Depends who you ask. But here's the real irony. The episode was mocking copycats, and it got copied, pirated, and re-uploaded more than any other Gumball clip ever. You gotta love poetic justice. Now, before we wrap this up, let's take a moment to remember what this all means. So the next time someone says Gumball is just a kid's show, ask them why entire episodes were pulled, censored, or straight up vanished. Maybe because cartoons aren't always for kids. And maybe that's the point. But if you think these episodes were messed up,